Hi, this is Oscar from the Smartphone Coaching System. We teach people how to design and live great lives, and we do this by finding the best strategies and then using technology to implement them. All the information you need to design and live a great life is out there. This has been studied for hundreds of years, and there's enough academic research to prove that it works. So it's not about knowing the information, it's about using the information. It's about implementing, it's about building success habits. So we use technology to implement and build habits, success habits, so we can live these principles daily. Today's video I'm going to talk about one topic that I think most of you have been through. It's about worry and what you can do when you worry a lot. And I want to start with a short story, and it starts when I was 24 years old, and I was wiping the tables in my father's restaurant, and I had a huge stone in my chest. I was super worried, and I was worried that I would be stuck working for my father for the rest of my life. If you ever been worried, you know the feeling when it feels heavy in your chest. And 4 years earlier I've been also working for my father, but he wanted me to go out and explore and do something with my life. So I went to Switzerland, and I studied in a really nice hotel school in Switzerland. I went to Australia and I studied in a hotel school in Australia. I worked for some of the nicest hotels in the world, and I went to Indonesia, Bali. I spent 6 months in Bali working as I was a trainee for a hotel right on the beach on the Paradise Island on Bali. It was a great time. And here I was now after I just came back from these 6 months that I spent in Bali, which was great. And again, I was working for my father. In Sweden they have this system that you can borrow money from the government if you want to study. So these 3 years that I studied in Switzerland and Australia was paid from my own pockets with loans to the government. So here I was and wiping the tables in my father's restaurant, something that I'd done exactly the same 4 years earlier. So I spent 3 years studying, working. I spent these 6 months in Bali. I had great experience, and I was back doing exactly the same thing as I was doing before. So you can imagine the stress and the worry. You know the feeling. I think that it's a universal feeling to worry and over things. But there are ways to get rid of this. So luckily my mom has a big network of executive coaches back in Sweden. So a few weeks later she found me a coach, and they gave me a free session. I was really thankful for that. So I went to this coach and I told her, like, listen, I feel stuck. I'm so worried. You know, before I got all this experience, I was working for my father, and now I do the same thing. Imagine if I had to do this for the rest of my life. You know, I want to create something, but I'm so worried that I'll never get a job and all this, you know. And the coach laughed in my face. She started laughing. He said, Oscar, you're 24 years old, you have a great education and lots of great experience from all over the world. Don't worry, it's going to be fine. You're going to have a great life ahead of you. And sometimes when you stop worrying and just focusing on the outcome, everything falls into place. And that's exactly what happened to me. I kept on working for my father 1 or 2 more months, and then I applied for 2 positions that I really wanted to have, my dream jobs, and one of them I got. I was working for sales for one of the big hotel chains back in Sweden. So when you worry, you're actually focusing on an outcome in the future that hasn't happened yet. So when I worried, I was thinking, oh shit, maybe I will always work for my father. Maybe I will never get a job, you know. So you're actually visualizing an outcome that hasn't happened yet, that is negative, which is not good. Because you need to visualize the ideal outcome and then come up with an action plan to bridge the gap to reach that outcome. And worry is not part of that. So how can we stop with this worriness? Well, one way is to go into the emotion, and when you worry, just first thing you need to realize that what you worry about hasn't happened yet, because if it would have happened, you would have acted. So if you worry that maybe you don't have enough money and you can't pay the rent, if you have time to worry, it means that you're still staying somewhere, because if the police would come and kick you out of your apartment because you didn't pay the rent, then you act, you don't worry. So worry means that it hasn't happened yet, which is good. So the second thing is that that's an emotion, and the emotion is not part of you. So you can go into the emotion, allow yourself to feel the emotion, notice the emotion. Instead of fighting it, just allow it to be there and then let it go. And then try that a few times. So you go into the emotion, don't think about anything, just allow the emotion to be there. Welcome it, allow it and feel it and notice what happens to your body, and then take a deep breath and just let it go. And that's another way to let go. And also what you should do when you worry is first identify what you want instead. So identify the ideal goal scenario. So identify the dream scenario and visualize that, and then come up with an action plan to bridge the gap and get busy with that action plan. Because when you're visualizing your ideal outcome and you're doing the necessary steps to get to that outcome, you don't have time to worry. So that's what I did. I let go of the worriness, and that landed me that dream job. Was almost 15 years ago now. Not really, almost. So so that's what I wanted to share with you today. If you want to have more stories like this, you just subscribe to me here on YouTube, and we're trying to shoot one video a week. You can also go to smartphonecoachingsystem.com and download a free report with some applications that we recommend you to use for personal development, because we teach people how to use technology for personal development instead of personal distraction. So thank you so much. See you guys next week.